Jessi has sparked debate among the public more often than not, but her latest situation has drawn considerable focus in South Korea. While some people support her, others demand her departure from the country, leaving netizens questioning who is at fault and who is justified. Jessi has long been a polarizing presence in K-pop, facing various incidents since the beginning of her career that have stirred up debates. On October 11th, Jessi found herself under fire from the public once again when a JTBC report revealed that a fan was attacked right in front of her. The report described an incident from September 29th, where an 18-year-old male fan encountered Jessi while heading to a convenience store in Apgujeong. It said that he approached her for a photo, but things quickly took a turn. CCTV footage released by the media outlet showed a man from Jessi's group blocking the fan and cursing at him in English, while Jessi herself declined the photo but apologized for doing so. After the fan apologized and tried to leave, another man allegedly attacked him, punching and kicking him. Following the attack, Jessi's group reportedly left the area when the fan called the police. They were later located, but then went on to claim they didn't actually know who the assailant was or where he had run off to. JTBC's report also mentioned that the fan's mother visited Jessi's agency to seek answers on the day of the incident, but was told that the man responsible for the attack was not connected to Jessi, but was a Chinese friend of a producer. Dissatisfied with this explanation, the victim's family proceeded to report the attacker to the police, and for about 10 days after the incident, there was no word from either the police or Jessi's agency. Then, on October 10th, the victim received a message from the producer, whose friend was the perpetrator, stating that Jessi didn't know who the latter was and wasn't involved, urging him to stop contacting and threatening her. The victim then had to clarify that he had never reached out to Jessi or threatened her in any way, expressing disappointment in how she had reacted. He said, "I don't know if she left because she didn't want to be involved, but I was really let down. Even from the footage, you can see she just stood there." Seeing how serious the situation has gotten, a lawyer representing Jessi's agency, DoD Entertainment, clarified that Jessi had no involvement in the incident. The agency stated that Jessi had just met the individual that day and didn't know him, assuring the public they would fully cooperate with the police to help track down the attacker. However, even though the agency tried to explain things, netizens still expressed a lot of disappointment towards Jessi and her behavior. Some said that they were in disbelief over the fact that she had seen a fan get hurt in front of her, and instead of trying to break the fight or call for help, she just walked away. Many felt that while the attacker was at fault, Jessi's decision to walk away and not address the situation was also a significant concern. Others agreed that while Jessi wasn't in the wrong in this situation, she should still apologize to the fan for the physical and psychological pain that was caused to him. In other words, most netizens were putting her at blame more than the perpetrator himself, which to some was just bizarre to watch. Due to all the backlash, Jessi released her own statement on October 12th, which she started by apologizing to the people who were concerned due to the recent reports. Jessi shared that during a private event with acquaintances, a fan approached her for a photo. She admitted that she turned down the request twice because it was late at night. Then, an individual she had only just met that night began to physically attack the fan out of nowhere. Understandably shocked and overwhelmed by the incident, Jessi admitted that she couldn't focus on the fan's feelings at that moment. However, she expressed regret for the fan's suffering and acknowledged a sense of moral responsibility for what occurred. Jessi added, "Soon after the incident, my label and I contacted the mother of the victim, and we are currently working to ensure that the victim finds the culprit and receives a proper apology and due compensation." In the end, she asked the public not to see the incident through a one-sided lens, but of course, that's exactly what happens. The apology, while seemingly sincere, actually just made things worse for her as the victim and his mother publicly refuted her claims. On the October 14th episode of JTBC's Crime Chef, they addressed Jessi's apology. During the episode, the victim's mother said that Jessi's apology was full of excuses, and her excuse of not knowing the assailant didn't make sense either. She reiterated the victim's statement that Jessi was with the man that night, contradicting Jessi's claim of not knowing him. The mother expressed her anger upon reading Jessi's statement, and the victim remarked that it felt like Jessi wasn't truly reflecting on what had happened. He also added that her mention of moral responsibility in the apology came off as insincere. Additionally, the victim alleged that a producer known as Koala, who has collaborated with Jessi several times, struck him in the stomach before the attack. He recounted that Koala initially punched him twice in the stomach and then continued to push his head against him. The victim even suggested that Koala could be involved with a Korean gang, describing his body language as unusual and not normal. He mentioned that after returning home, he did some digging into Koala's background and found indications that he might indeed be connected to a gang, just as he had suspected. After the episode aired, Jessi's company put out a statement, rightfully explaining that while it was true that Jessi and Koala had worked together several times, Jessi didn't know whether he was part of a gang or not. The reactions after this interview were divided. Most didn't blame Jessi at all for the incident, saying that she just happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. In their opinion, if two men were fighting, Jessi wasn't in the wrong to try and save herself by walking away from the situation. As a netizen put it, I don't know what they wanted her to do. I know she has a strong personality, but she is not a man. It could have been worse if she physically tried to break it up. People were left wondering why Jessi was facing the backlash for a situation she didn't initiate or take part in, while the actual culprit seemed to be overlooked by the media and the public. Many also questioned whether the victim was telling the whole story. A fan noted that in the video, the fan approached Jessi aggressively, shoving his phone in her face, which likely upset her companions. Jessi can even be seen bowing an apology and attempting to calm the situation, trying to intervene twice when the man attacked the victim. Some people were less understanding of Jessi and even suggested that she should leave the country. Her Instagram comments quickly became flooded with people telling her to go back to America and belittling her Korean skills. One even suggested that she should be banned from the country just like Steven Yeun, who infamously wasn't allowed back in Korea after he dodged the military. On October 16th, Jessi showed up at the Gangnam police station for questioning about the incident. Wearing a zip-up hoodie and a black cap, she took a moment to speak to the media, expressing her desire for the perpetrator to be found quickly and punished. She also assured the police that she would share everything she knew about the situation, once again stating it was her first encounter with the attacker that day. But while Jessi was questioned for 6 hours at the police station, a previous incident resurfaced, intensifying public opinion that she should consider stepping away from her career. To explain, in May 2013, Jessi faced allegations of attacking a Korean-American woman in a club restroom in Itaewon. The victim initially filed a complaint against Jessi and two of her friends, but later withdrew it. Jessi had maintained that she only intervened to stop the fight and did not take part in it, but the victim suggested that her choice to drop the case was motivated by other factors. She explained that she was preparing to return to the US for work and had already purchased her flight tickets. The lengthy legal process would have prevented her from leaving the country, so she felt she had no option but to withdraw the case. She also pointed out that Jessi's friend who attacked her went back to the US, drawing a parallel to Jessi's recent claims about the perpetrator in the current case returning to China. She emphasized that if there hadn't been CCTV footage, Jessi would likely have denied any involvement, just like she's allegedly doing right now. With everything that went on, Jessi actually ended up leaving her label. On October 18th, DoD Entertainment announced that she had parted ways with the label just a month after joining. The company issued an apology for the recent incident that worried fans, explaining that after talks with Jessi about her future, they both decided to end her exclusive contract effective that day. Despite their brief time together, DoD expressed gratitude for Jessi's contributions and wished her well in her future endeavors. International fans are still puzzled about why Jessi was involved in this issue at all, with one of them tweeting, "Jessi lost her whole career, was interrogated for hours, and is enduring the brutality of Korean press because two random men decided to fight and she happened to be there." Many observers noted that Jessi made efforts to pull Koala away from the fan and even tried to step in when the assailant approached. However, realizing she couldn't change the situation, she ultimately backed away for her own safety. On the other hand, the commenter highlighted a perspective from Korea, expressing concern that Jessi didn't help identify the attacker, claiming ignorance of his name. While this may be her truth, it raises doubts about why her entourage, who likely knew him, didn't report the incident to the police. The situation is still unfolding, but it appears Jessi is taking the most heat instead of those who were actually involved in the fight. While we hope the victim finds justice, it's notable that Jessi, who wasn't part of the altercation and even attempted to intervene, is being pressured to leave the country and is facing career setbacks. We hope she can move past this and surrounds herself with better influences to avoid future trouble.